over again if Avery didn't like the lighting or the camera angle. How had she managed to be the very last one on set? Oh yes, waiting and praying that Bobby would really call her. Sammy had emerged from his guard post. "Hey!" she called back, hoping that he would pay attention, see her, and wait for her to come running back. She'd even take a ride with disgusting fat Sammy at this point. He wasn't looking her direction. He was going off duty, heading away from her. She should have accepted a ride from him when he'd offered, but she'd been convinced she'd find a taxi right away. Who the hell knew that the area dried up like a prune once it got late at night? The guard disappeared behind one of the trailers. He'd been anxious for her to go, of course, once she'd refused to ride with him. She'd been the last one near the trailers, the only one left who had been working on the on-location day-plus shoot for O'Leary's, a tale about crime and prostitution in the 1800s in New York City. One of the pubs in the area had had the right interior, and the buildings, except for the gap where the old Darby building had so recently stood, were perfect. The gutted area and the work tents set up on the old site were shielded by a blue screen for the movie making. New York was not a city to make do without the income a permit for such work would secure for the city, nor, with the preservationists supporting liberals to be found in the area, could a recently discovered historic site be disturbed. Even so, the area around the demolished building was surrounded by cheap wire fencing that any schoolboy could scale, and closed by a gate with a 2-bit combination lock. It looked like a war zone in a third-world country. She was beyond it, though, and she hurried. The gaping hole in the landscape seemed alive, mocking her for her fear of darkness and shadows. Now she cursed Bobby Walden. Megastar. Jerk. So, maybe she had been too easy, too wide-eyed and too hopeful. But he'd really been into her during the shoot. He'd whispered such cool stuff to her between takes that day. She was ready. She knew how to get her name in the paper, and how to move ahead. In film, in the real world, perception was everything. She wasn't a fool. She didn't expect a happy ever after with Bobby Walden. Just a date, or a night in his hotel room, a place she could pretend to slip out of while being sure that she was spotted by the media. That was all she needed. Her picture on page 6, maybe. People would start talking about her, and it would make it worthwhile that she'd slept with the pimple-faced assistant at the casting agency to get the job as an extra, a down-and-out historical hooker for the movie. And she should still be glad, because she'd wound up with a few lines, enough to qualify for her SAG card. B-movie. That was okay. Many a star had gotten his or her start as an extra suddenly given lines. It took something like being singled out by Bobby Walden to get noticed. "Hey! Hey, Sammy!" she called, walking back toward the site and Sammy. But Sammy didn't appear from behind the trailer that was just about 2 blocks away now. He had to have heard her, but even if she ran, she'd never catch him. "Sammy, you fat ass!" she muttered. Sammy was gone, probably down in the useless-to-her Whitehall subway station already. She thought she saw a man, a different man, standing by the trailers. He must have been an actor. He seemed to be wearing a stovepipe hat and a long black, all-encompassing coat. Whoever it was would be in big trouble with the costume department. The moon shifted. There was no man standing there. She was making herself bizarrely nervous. It was simply because she'd never imagined that anywhere in New York could become so devoid of people. She turned and retraced her steps. If she reached Broadway and started running, she was almost at the corner when she heard the noise again. Click, click, drag. Was it coming from behind her? Or before her? She turned the corner and screamed. There was a man standing there. He looked dazed. He was in dirty jeans, a dirtier denim jacket. He hadn't shaved in days, and his hair was tangled and greasy. "Hey, lady, you got $1? Just $1, or some change? Anything, a quarter?" He took a step toward her with his hand outstretched, and she suddenly knew the direction from which the click-click drag had come. She could smell him. He was absolutely repulsive. "No!" she cried. "Get away!" "Lady, I'm just a vet." "You're just an alcoholic or a junk."